Then the Lord God formed a man from the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living being. Genesis 2:7. Welcome to Bible Questions Hub. Join me as I dive into the mysterious world of Genesis 2 and see if I can uncover all its secrets before time runs out. Genesis 2, the chapter that details the completion of creation, the formation of mankind, and the establishment of the first covenant between God and humanity. Genesis 2 is often considered one of the most pivotal chapters in the Bible, and for good reason. It's here that we get a deeper understanding of human nature, relationships, and the complexities that come with them. It's a chapter that has sparked debates and discussions for centuries, and yet it remains just as relevant today as it was back then. One of the biggest misconceptions about Genesis 2 is that it's just a rehashing of the creation story found in Genesis 1. But that couldn't be further from the truth. While Genesis 1 provides a broad strokes account of creation, Genesis 2 zooms in on the finer details, revealing a rich tapestry of symbolism and meaning that's often overlooked. Another misconception is that Genesis 2 is all about Adam and Eve, but as we'll see, it's about so much more than that. Despite its importance, interpreting Genesis 2 can be a challenging task. The language is often poetic and open to interpretation, which has led to countless debates among scholars and theologians. And yet, it's precisely this complexity that makes Genesis 2 so fascinating. It's a chapter that rewards close reading and attention. Stay with us as we break down this passage, uncover its hidden meanings, and see how it applies to our lives today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with anyone who wants to grow in their understanding of the Bible. In Genesis 2, we witness the intimate and personal way God shapes humanity. Unlike the grand declarations of Genesis 1, this chapter zooms in on the formation of man, the establishment of the Garden of Eden, and the creation of woman. God breathes life into man, places him in a lush paradise, and gives him purpose. However, he sees that man should not be alone. From Adam's very being, God forms Eve, establishing the first human relationship. This chapter reveals God's care, the sanctity of work, and the divine institution of marriage, laying the foundation for human identity and purpose. The formation of man, Genesis 2:7. In the silence of an untouched world, the Creator bent down and gathered the dust of the ground. With divine intent, he shaped a figure, arms, legs, a face, a heart, crafted in perfect design. Then, in an act of unparalleled intimacy, God breathed into the nostrils of this lifeless form. Warmth spread through the being as his chest rose for the first time, his eyes flickering open to behold the face of his Maker. Adam sat up, taking in the world around him. The ground was firm beneath his hands, the scent of earth and sky filled his lungs. The light of the sun, newly placed in the heavens, cast a golden glow over the land. Trees towered around him, their branches laden with fruit. Rivers shimmered, dividing the land into fertile beauty. But more than all this, he felt a presence, an undeniable sense that he was not alone. "You are formed in my image," God spoke, his voice like the whisper of wind and the rumble of thunder. "You shall tend this land and walk with me." The Garden of Eden, a place of purpose. Genesis 2:8-14. God led Adam to a special place, Eden, a garden unlike any other. The air was rich with the fragrance of blossoms, and the river that ran through the garden sparkled like liquid diamonds. Animals roamed in harmony. Birds sang melodies that danced with the wind. Every tree bore fruit, ripe and abundant, offering provision without toil. At the heart of the garden stood two trees, the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. "This is your home," God said. "You are free to eat from any tree, except the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. For in the day you eat of it, you shall surely die." Adam listened, his heart stirred with wonder and gratitude. Here was his purpose, to cultivate, to care, to thrive under the gaze of his Creator. And yet, though all was beautiful, something was missing. The need for a companion, Genesis 2:15-20. Days passed as Adam named the creatures that roamed the land. The lion's roar echoed through the valleys. The deer leaped in graceful bounds. The eagle soared high above the treetops. He saw them in pairs, each one with a companion, sharing in the beauty of the world. But Adam was alone. God, in his infinite wisdom, saw the longing in Adam's heart. "It is not good for man to be alone," he declared. "I will make a helper suitable for him." That evening, as the sky blazed with the colors of the setting sun, Adam felt a deep drowsiness overcome him. He lay beneath the shade of a great tree, eyes heavy with sleep. God reached forth his hand, touching Adam's side, and from within he took a rib, crafting from it something entirely new, something more delicate yet strong, designed to stand beside man. The creation of woman, the gift of relationship, Genesis 2:21-23. When Adam awoke, his eyes beheld a sight more wonderful than he had ever seen. Before him stood Eve. Her eyes held the reflection of the stars. Her form was shaped with grace and strength. She was like him, yet distinct, bearing the same divine breath that filled his lungs. For the first time, Adam felt a connection beyond himself, a bond unspoken, yet undeniable. With joy overflowing, he exclaimed, "This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, for she was taken out of man." God smiled, seeing the completion of his design. In this moment, marriage was established, not as a mere contract, but as a sacred covenant. Adam and Eve were made for one another, to walk side by side in unity and love. The covenant of marriage and the presence of God, Genesis 2:24-25. The two stood together, hand in hand, before their Creator. There was no shame, no fear, only pure joy in the presence of God and each other. This was the first marriage, not written in ink, but woven into the very fabric of creation. For this reason, God declared, "A man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and they shall become one flesh." Here, in the heart of Eden, love was born, not just between man and woman, but between humanity and God. There was no division, no pain, only harmony, purpose, and the promise of life together. The historical and cultural contribution in the ancient civilizations had various creation myths, but Genesis 2 stands unique in its portrayal of a personal God forming mankind with care. The concept of divine image-bearing set humans apart, providing dignity and purpose. The covenant of marriage as an institution rooted in divine origin shaped societies for millennia, influencing moral and social structures. As we navigate through our current generation, the application of Genesis 2 in our daily life is profound in 1. Recognizing God's intentionality. Just as Adam was formed with purpose, each of us is uniquely designed with a plan in God's story. 2. The importance of relationships. We are not meant to walk alone. Community and companionship are divine gifts. 3. Honoring marriage and commitment. The union of Adam and Eve teaches the sacredness of marriage, rooted in love and unity. 4. Trusting in God's provision. Eden was filled with abundance. Even in life's uncertainties, we can trust that God provides. As you cross-references other books in the Bible, the story of Genesis is presented in Psalm 139:14. "I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made." In Matthew 19:4-6, Jesus reaffirms marriage as a divine covenant. 1 Corinthians 11:11-12 emphasizes the interdependence of man and woman. Genesis 2 provided truth that humanity is divinely crafted and cherished by God, and that companionship is part of God's design. Relationships are central to life. Marriage is a covenant, reflecting God's love and unity. Obedience to God brings life, while straying from Him leads to separation. As we completed this chapter, the story of Genesis 2, we need to take time to reflect on God's purpose for your life. How does His design shape your identity, relationships, and choices? If you're married, cherish your spouse as God intended. If you're single, trust that God's plans for companionship and purpose are perfect in His time. Share these truths with others and seek to walk in the harmony and purpose God has set before you. Thus, the story of humanity began, not in chaos. So what do you think? What insights have you gained from our exploration of Genesis 2? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's continue the conversation. And if you want to explore more fascinating biblical topics, be sure to check out my next video, Genesis 3. Thank you for watching the Bible Questions Hub. We must rely in the loving hands of the Creator, where purpose, love, and divine relationship